a poor defensive first quarter led to, well, decent defense over the next three quarters and a 35-17 opening night win. I think the thing that surprised most was that Ian Book was not among the sharp kind of high points of the game, and Brian Kelly downplayed that a bit, but I think it's fair after talking to Book and Kelly, they know he has to get better.
Yeah, not having Michael Young and Cole Kmet doesn't help, but that's not a legitimate excuse. He fumbled a couple times, lost one of them. Notre Dame won the turnover battle 3-1. I don't know if you could say they forced 5 fumbles, but there were 5 fumbles by Louisville. But as you said, Tim, I mean, after the first 2 touchdowns by Louisville, 11 minutes into the game, they held Louisville to 3 points for the final 49 minutes. What you don't want to see is 249 yards rushing, which is what Louisville had and outrushed Notre Dame.
And I think you really don't want to see it from an offense that couldn't pass well. At some point, they knew Juwan Pass had to beat them running. They wouldn't let him do it. 249 yards is too much against. I know it's an opener that could be bad tackle. There's going to be some errors when you're bringing a new linebacker crew, but I don't think anyone in the defensive film room is going to be pleased with that. Some news, Jafar Armstrong, who basically just played on the first drive. Speculation that there's a groin injury. He believes, Brian Kelly said, is a midline injury, so it'll be a little higher. He was being evaluated during the press conference. We do not have a definitive evaluation on him. It doesn't seem like any other injuries will keep Notre Dame players out over the next 2 weeks, but going forward, I think that you just expected something sharper from Notre Dame today. You expected more of a pass rush from the Irish. Kelly contributed that to the environment and youth, and I think it's a coach kind of putting a bow on a win and taking the positive out of it.
But he also said that there were some young players that stepped forward. Certainly Tommy Tremble, Ade Ogundeji. I guess he's not really a young guy anymore, but he's not a starter. Drew White, I thought, did some really good things at linebacker. But he said the veterans didn't step forward. Now, we didn't press him as to who that was. I would suggest that Julian Okwara and Khalid Kareem would be 2 of those. And I also thought that Notre Dame's backup defensive tackles, and we talked about this during the preseason, I thought Notre Dame's backup defensive tackles, although Tagovailoa-Amosa did do some good things, I thought their backup D tackles were better than the starting defensive tackles.
Both Okwara and Kareem jumped off sides on third downs that gave Louisville 5 extra yards. The Cardinals converted both times to keep drives alive. One a scoring drive and one that was saved by Ogundeji, who forced a fumble. He was one of the defensive players that came out to talk post-game. It's exciting to see someone develop in that role because Khalid Kareem and Okwara are going to have better days, Dalen Hayes as well, and there's a couple steps forward from people like Ogundeji and White, as you mentioned. I thought the most important thing Kelly said was our veterans weren't that good today. That includes Ian Book as well.
There's no doubt. I mean, he wasn't sharp in the first half, and he made plays when he had to in the second half, just like he normally does. He needs to mature, though, and come out smoking like he did in his first start at Wake Forest. Tony Jones Jr., 112 yards on 15 carries. Good day for him. He seems more comfortable. I didn't get a chance to ask him. He seemed to be maybe banged up a little bit at some point during the game when they started shuffling Jameer Smith in there and Kyron Williams and eventually Sebo Flemister. But he finished strong. He's a quicker football player. He says he's a better football player because he knows he has confidence in his ability, and Brian Kelly said he knows what his role is and he's a little bit more comfortable.
Kelly said there's a litany of things to work on. I would agree with him, but it was also in an opening victory. That is it for us here at Cardinal Stadium. We'll have Tim Prister's Snap Judgments 9 notebook, a couple of columns, and then a lot more as the week goes on as Notre Dame defeats Louisville 35-17.